Hi, I'm Daniel Seaman, and welcome to my new show at JNS Studios, a show in which we will try to analyze and give you insights into events happening here in Israel and the Middle East. As the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire draws to a conclusion, talk is now focusing on the day after and what will happen here in the area. There is, of course, the Trump idea of how to move forward, allowing Arabs in Gaza to relocate and to have an American presence here. The Arab nations, led by Egypt, are offering counter ideas. These ideas basically come down to allowing the Palestinian Authority to return and run things. Considering how successful they have been in running the Arab areas in Judea and Samaria, it is not a concept Israelis are comfortable with, to say the least. Here to discuss this and offer us insights into what we are dealing with is Lital Shemesh. Thank you for joining us, Lital. Lital is one of Israel's leading news reporters, serving as an anchor for Israel channel Now 14 News, an analyst and radio broadcaster. Lital is also the author of the book, How Much is a Dead Jew Worth?, which exposes the depths of the Palestinian Authority's pay-for-safe policy. Thank you, Lital, for joining us. First question, why are Israelis so opposed to the Palestinian Authority taking control over the Gaza Strip?
Well, I think it's pretty clear to all of us in Israel what the Palestinian Authority is doing in the recent few years. It's actually over 30 years that the Palestinian Authority is paying terrorists to go and murder Jews. The third largest ministry in the Palestinian Authority is the ministry that pays salaries for shaheeds, that pays salary for terrorists who are sitting in Israeli prison. So at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, what is the difference between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority? We also know, Danny, and this is a fact that many people around the world are not aware of, is the fact that the Palestinian Authority is actually paying salaries to the Nukhba terrorists who are now sitting in Israeli prisons, who committed the horrific attack on October 7th. Not only that, they were paying a special grant to every Nukhba terrorist who died in the October 7th attacks.
Sorry for interrupting you, but so people understand, the Nukhba, that's a term that the Arabs gave to these terrorists, they were Hamas members, and the PA are supposed to be those who signed a peace treaty with Israel, the PLO. So they are, in effect, paying the Hamas and providing them salaries to their families to an organization that they're opposed to, and yet they continue to finance them.
Yeah, they continue to finance. We know that there is a war between the Palestinian Authority and Hamas over who will control the Gaza Strip, over who will control the Palestinian Authority. But when it comes to murder Jews, the Palestinian Authority is paying Hamas terrorists, is paying the terrorists who are living in the Gaza Strip, is paying Israeli Arab terrorists who are actually going and murder Jews. They will also get salary. Their family will get a special grant, a special salary from the Palestinian Authority. So when it comes to murder Jews, the Palestinian Authority is saying to themselves, we are willing to pay salaries. We are willing to go to the extent of doing everything we can in order to fight Israel. And this is the absurd that not only Israel, but the world is looking at the Palestinian Authority as this moderate body that we can work with, that we can cooperate with. Well, the matter of fact is the Palestinian Authority is the one funding, educating, teaching the next generation to go and murder Jews.
Before going into the pay-for-slay concept, I'm exactly what I want you to give some insights on. We're not only talking about the money, it's also this whole atmosphere which encourages from youth until you're older, the mosques, the schools, etc. Can you elaborate a little on that?
Yeah, so today you see in the Palestinian Authority educational system, 19% of the money that goes to the Palestinian Authority goes to the educational system. You open the booklets in the Palestinian Authority. They teach how to, how the Jews are the worst thing in the world. Schools were named after suicide bombers. Streets in the Palestinian Authority. This is a part of their culture. And I'm always explaining to people, we can fight terror, we can fight terrorism, but until you will change this indoctrination, until you will change this, there's no other word of calling it, but Nazi education to kill Jews, to hate Jews, we will not see a better future, not in Israel and not in the Middle East. Also, schools in East Jerusalem, schools who are actually being funded by the Ministry of Education, the Israeli Ministry of Education, they have Palestinians booklets, Palestinian booklets who are teaching young children how to hate Jews. We only saw recently, Danny, and I just want to add the horrific ceremony of Hamas terrorists handing the bodies of the two innocent kids, only 9 months old and 4-year-old kids and their mom, who are being murdered by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And you see on the crowds, people cheering, people bringing their infants, their kids, to see this attack and cheering for the fact that Hamas murdered these innocent children.
Before we go in to discuss the fact that some of these textbooks and the school materials are funded by UNRWA and also from USAID, just a little on the pay-for-slay concept. What exactly does this mean? The United States Congress addressed this at the time, but people have to understand that they make it very clear that if you murder a Jew, it'll be financially worthwhile for you.
Yeah, so the pay-for-slay method basically says the more you kill, the more years you're getting in the Israeli prison, the more money you're going to get paid by the Palestinian Authority according to the years you were sentenced. We're now seeing President Donald Trump saying to the Palestinians, I will not send money to the Palestinian Authority as long as you're paying to terrorists. You're basically funding terror. We saw in 2018 the Taylor Force Act that was being achieved by Trump back in the days, saying after, and I will give a background, after Taylor Force, an American citizen was murdered in Jaffa in Israel by a Palestinian terrorist. His family went into basically a battle, saying, we cannot send our taxpayers' money to the Palestinian Authority as long as it's killing innocent civilians. The Taylor Force Act was being passed by Donald Trump in 2018, saying as long as you're paying for terrorists, Americans' money is not going to get to the Palestinian Authority. And then Joe Biden came into power, and you were talking about USAID, and he said, how can we not transfer money to the poor Palestinians? And he just transferred the money through USAID and found another route to continue and found terrorism.
And the people have to understand this is financially beneficial because they get more money than the average pay. And this is what your book investigated when you wrote your book about this. What is it? How much is a dead Jew worth? What can you tell us about this in the comparison to the Arab society in Judea and Samaria and the Gaza Strip, how financially beneficial it is for them to do this?
Yeah, so for a terrorist a Palestinian terrorist who being judged for a life sentence, let's say 25 years in prison for killing a Jew, you will get 4 times more of the average salary in the Palestinian Authority. So you understand that in order to be rich, in order to make your family live in wealth, you just need to go and murder Jews. And not only that, the Palestinian Authority is counting the years of you in prison and giving it as a salary as when you start working in the Palestinian Authority. They basically guarantee that you will get a job in the Palestinian Authority as you'll be released from prison.
And what happens to those who are killed? What happens? The families then benefit from this.
Yeah, a terrorist who was being killed, his family will get paid by the Palestinian Authority throughout its entire life. I will give you another shocking fact: the Nukhba terrorist who died on October 7th. Each of their family got a special grant of 7,400 shekels by the Palestinian Authority as a thank you for going and murdering innocent Israeli civilians.
7,400 shekels, when the average, I believe, in Gaza, the average pay was around 100 shekels a month. So they're getting 70 times that money for murdering Jews. Now, if they're killed, and this you have to understand, in the Palestinian society, if a woman has embarrassed the family in any way, if she went and they would encourage her to in a way to cleanse herself is by performing a terrorist attack against Jews and against Israelis. If you have a family member who has some kind of mental problem, just to get rid of them, or people themselves would feel in a way to compensate the family for being a burden on them, this would encourage them, so the family would benefit from their acts and especially their death.
Yeah, and not only that, we're seeing UNRWA, basically the body of the UN that was supposed to be in charge of humanitarian aid to the Palestinians and to Gaza, basically participating in the October 7th Act, holding hostages, participating in kidnapping people. And this is something that needs to really concern the people of the world who are watching us right now. Ask your government, where is our tax money goes to? Why does the countries of the world keep funding UNRWA, keep funding the UN while all of this is happening? It's really absurd.
So this is really, it's madness, and it's acceptable when you're talking about Jews in Israel. To be totally unacceptable any place else in the world. No country, forget having missiles fired at you, but having another governmental source funding people to murder your civilians, and then the international community, I can understand the Arab world, okay. But you have the Europeans supporting this, the Democrats in the United States, parts of the left wing in Israel, all trying to put pressure on the Israeli government to accept the fact that the PLO, who runs the Palestinian Authority, would now be also responsible for Gaza. So what happens? We wait another 20, 30 years and go back. It'll probably be much quicker than that, and go back to the situation we were before October 7th. It's total madness.
Yeah, it's total madness, and I think the people of Israel are starting to understand, after this war will be over, handing the Gaza Strip from one terror entity to another terror entity won't solve the problem. It's basically won't do anything. If we want to see a different Middle East, we should look outside to countries like United Arab Emirates, like Bahrain, like countries who did a long process of denazification, who completely changed the culture, completely changed the narrative, who understand they want to be a part of the Western world. And until that will change, we won't see a better future here in Israel.
Exactly. And the people as they are right now, that there's no way that this can be changed, because they've already been poisoned with this anti-Israeli and Israel hatred that they've been indoctrinated with. Just to give people an example, during this prisoner exchange in the past few weeks, we released several hundred of terrorists that were in jail for murder, etc. One of these, Khariz Beide, was just this week in the Palestinian Authority. He participated in the cabinet meeting of the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah.
Yeah. Can you imagine an entity that its heroes are basically people who killed Jews, that for them, in order to release innocent hostages that were being taken from their homes or from a music festival down south, in order to release these innocent civilians, they're asking us to release hundreds and thousands of terrorists, because these are their heroes. Can you imagine any Western countries who would ask another country, please release murderers from jail? Please release people who murdered innocent civilians in a variety of terror attacks, suicide bomb attacks, shooting attacks. It's unheard of.
We don't even have to imagine these things, because this Thursday we had an incident where terrorists from Judea and Samaria, the areas under the control of the Palestinian Authority, attempted and miraculously failed at a terrorist attack. We're still there's right now, the police aren't releasing, and the government isn't releasing more information as being investigated. But we could have woken up on Friday, this last weekend, with a terrible terrorist attack here that was perpetrated by the same PA that they want us to accept in Gaza right now.
Yeah. I think for many years we were telling ourselves, deceiving ourselves in thinking that the Palestinian Authority is better than Islamic Jihad or Hamas or any other terror entity controlling the Palestinian Authority. But the matter of fact is, the Palestinian Authority were never the solution. They were always the problem. They were the ones funding. They were the ones educating. They were the ones uniting the different groups against Israel. So we need to stop telling ourselves, that this is better than the other one, and just admitting the problem and fighting the problem and fighting it from the root.
So this proposal by Trump, which a lot of Israelis are embracing right now, that we should relocate, first off, for humanitarian reasons, allow the Gazans who want to leave, but just going back to zero, rebooting the situation in Gaza and starting from the beginning seems to be the only logical conclusion to what has happened in the past year and 5 months.
I'm actually optimistic about Trump's solution. We've seen European countries taking millions of refugees from Syria after the civil war. We've seen Europe taking millions of refugees from Ukraine because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Why won't they take Palestinians refugees? Why won't they give them a better future? 90% of the people in Jordan are basically Palestinians. And I think if the world cares so much about the Palestinians, they should just open their gates and let them out of this tiny, tiny area, the Gaza Strip, was controlled for so many years, for too many years, by terror organization who is making its own people miserable.
Well, that's what we'll have to see in the future. You're talking about being optimistic and looking towards the future. I'll let our viewers let them know that you talking about a better future. You just gave birth a little over a month ago to a baby girl, Liri, I believe her name. And I have a very important question on this. You yourself were a border policewoman, a combat soldier in the past. You did several years in reserves. What did you find more difficult, being a border police officer, or being a mother of a newborn?
I don't find it difficult at all. I'm actually enjoying every single moment with this precious girl, baby girl. She's incredible. She's amazing. And I'm really embracing every moment that she's still, so tiny and so precious. So I don't complain at all.
Lital Shemesh, a broadcaster for Israel Channel 14, a new mother. May you enjoy your new role and your new job, and thank you for joining us on your maternity leave here and giving us your insights. We look forward to talking to you in the future on other issues. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Danny. Thank you for having me.
I hope for our viewers this gives you an understanding of what Israel has to deal with. We are successful with it, and on this battlefield of the seventh battlefield that the seventh front that Israel is engaged in, which is the propaganda front, the cognitive warfare. So people understand it's not as simple as it's being portrayed. It's not like you're getting through the media. It's not this, it is a very simple right and wrong, but you have to understand when it's good versus evil, who the evil is. And sometimes good people have to do difficult things in order to defeat evil. And that's what Israel has been doing in the past 14 months since October 7th, 2023, and will do what we need to do for the survival of the Jewish people in its ancient homeland of the land of Israel. I want to thank you all for being with us today and listening to us, and we'll be with you again to give you insights on what is happening here in Israel. I'm Danny Seaman, and I want to thank you for being with us.